What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another offseason in the Madden 20 Denver Broncos franchise. How's everyone doing today? Always love when the off-seasons roll around here in my franchise. It creates the most exciting time in any of my series. And we always have a good time here live, seeing how everything plays out and how the series will change. I'm on time, everybody, here, 2 o'clock, as I said. You know what to expect. I can't wait to see how this offseason plays out. I think that the future of the series is still going to be very strong, especially after the time I took to rebalance some ratings and to fix some developments for CPU teams. I think it's going to be more challenging this year, and the salary cap is going to be a big challenge for us to navigate around. So I'll chat with everybody for a few minutes while we wait for everything to fill up, and then we'll dive on into the newest offseason here in the Denver Broncos franchise. What's going on, everybody? Who's ready for another offseason? Hello, Brandon. How you doing? Ahmad, Pierre, Amon, Nate. Nate Sheffield's here. Sam, Heath. What happened to the lights from yesterday? So there's natural light coming in. I don't think that it would work as well during the day. Unless I had like blackout curtains or something installed over there. I don't have any curtains installed. I think there would just be too much light for it to look good. So I don't have it set up today. Who am I targeting the most this offseason? Jacob, I'm not quite sure yet. I don't know who's going to be available from CPU teams, and as far as our resigning goes, I'm just not sure how everything is going to fit. Obviously, we have the constraints just because we've already signed a lot of key players, and I adjusted their contracts to make them even more realistic. So, Boogie Turner's deal, the mega deal kicks in this coming year. We've had the luxury of having him at a much lower salary for his entire career, and all of that is about to change. We're also going to see increased contracts now for players like Xavier Watts, Eric McKinney, Donovan Jennings. I've already done that editing, and we also have to plan for future contracts because next year we have more free agents. We're going to see Jamari Akinjide and what kind of deal he's able to get. We're also going to see Dion Price become a free agent again. We have JT Granger's deal up after next year. So at the same time, we have to have money set aside for the future and deals we haven't even made. And there's Levi Summers. Victor, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that very much. What am I expecting from Boogie after the mega deal? I gotta see more of the same. You know, double-digit sack seasons, big impact, game in, game out. He's got to be able to take over games and be the same player he's been now for 5 years. It's going to be a fun day at least. It's always interesting here, Jacob. No matter what, the offseason will throw some surprises our way. And I'm looking forward to it. Michael Thomas, Andres Pete, Jameis, and the 28th pick for Russell Wilson and David Moore. It will happen. Your thoughts? Just deals like that. It's hard to ever think anything like that could actually happen. But, like, trades have changed so much in the last decade in the NFL, and, like, what would have been considered strange or ridiculous happens, like the DeAndre Hopkins trade last year. I don't think Russ is going to be traded. I think Watson will be. But Carolina, I think, makes the most sense because they pick high, their pick is valuable, and I think they could part ways with some of their young players. Like, I think a trade that could work out is this year's first, next year's first, maybe next year's second, plus Teddy Bridgewater, Dante Jackson, and maybe Robbie Anderson for Deshaun Watson. That's one I came up with. Get to watch Kane as my college football revamp gets updated. Are they still making changes there? I think I saw that they were still going to be working on some things that weren't yet in there, or optimizing some things. Yeah, if I do another NCAA series, though, like a coach carousel, I'll definitely want to check out Revamped and get that on mine. Do I think you will win another Super Bowl? It's possible. I mean, the game is tough. Last year wasn't so tough because I think our team is just so good, and having all these players, especially on rookie deals, has made it so much easier. So we've had, one near impossible run. We had the easier run last year and a more balanced one the year before. I think it's going to be tougher, and CPU teams will be more challenging with some of the changes I've made, so we'll have to see. Corville better get you a first if you trade him. I don't know yet what teams will be willing to give up. I do want to trade Terrell Corville today. I think that after the year he had, that he would want out anyway. If there were a way for them to demand a trade, he would want out. He's just not being used the way he should be in our offense, and I don't really want to pay $12-13 million for that role anymore, as we face tougher challenges at keeping the team together. So we're going to trade Corville, but I want to replace him with another receiver, and I'm not sure a rookie's going to cut it. Hey, Kane, love the series. You're a great GM. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. Doing my best. Who is Minnesota drafting? Can imagine it's anything but O-line. It's hard to predict where these bad teams will go at the very top of the class. We went through the draft yesterday. So I've obviously been doing the draft very differently with getting draft classes later in the season, so Blackjack has time to go into depth. And he's here, by the way. Say hi to Blackjack, everybody. He has made another draft class. We went through it yesterday, and I have screenshots of the draft board with top threes and some notes on some of the actual talent grades. So we know there are a couple good quarterbacks here at the very top, and the top quarterback taken should be, it doesn't mean it will, there are a couple options, but it should be Temple quarterback Chidi Ikechukwu. Strong arm quarterback. He has A+ throw power, A throw under pressure, A- throw accuracy deep. And then there's Cameron Grimes from Cincinnati. A+ throw power, A break sack, A short accuracy. He's a scrambler. So different styles of quarterback, and maybe the scheme fit comes into play. Although I think most teams would prioritize strong arm over scrambler. But you never know. We've seen some wild things play out even last year. There was some thought that Courtney Jean-Charles would go early. He didn't. Randall Cross became QB1. You never know with these CPU teams. And just the chain reaction of all of those moves together creates a lot of fun once we get to round one. Is Andrew Luck still in the league? I believe he is, Jacob. Yes, he should be. You pronounce his name Ikechukwu. Chidi Ikechukwu. Just pulling up another screen here. There are a lot of interesting players here at the top, and what's always interesting to me is when a team is picking number one and they don't need quarterback, and it's going to be the Chargers picking number one. They have Oliver Raymond, so they'll be going somewhere else. It could be Montrell Griffin. I think it's going to be Lester Thorne to solidify tackle. Could also be Marquavion Hairston from Georgia if they want to go defense and add a rusher. They need a receiver. Receiver doesn't make sense in round one, so I'm intrigued by where they go in free agency and when they decide to add a playmaker. If they don't, I don't see them competing with us next year against our secondary. And I have spent my scouting points for this week on players that I think are realistic for us to take early on. and were just some of my favorites. So I am prepared for this draft. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm ready to dive into it, everybody. We have gone through the recap, all this stuff. It's taken a while now as I have delayed the stream a couple of weeks, but we have a great class, and it's time to just let everything unfold. So goodbye year 8. We are on to year 9 in the Denver Broncos franchise. Don't you ever rub yourself in oil and slide around your house like a slug? No, I can't say I have. Still cold in Texas? Oh no, the cold went away a week ago. And then it was beautiful for most of this week. It was an amazing week, and now it's been kind of cloudy and hazy outside. It's actually warm out right now, but it's not like the good kind of warm. It's just humid and cloudy, so I'm waiting for some sun. So, I suppose we better begin then by checking out the retirements. Just checking one thing here on my stream settings. Okay. Zach Martin has retired. That is not too much of a surprise. He was great for us, but now we're looking for a new right guard. We already kind of expected that. Khalil Mack has retired. Aaron Jones after 10 years. So Cleveland losing Jones and Odell Beckham. Grady Jarrett retires. Laquan Treadwell, Ryan Kelly, Corey Linsley, Andrew Norwell. Some big retirements here for Pittsburgh. Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Fournette. All right, and the Chargers have a new coach, by the way. We will want to check on that just because I want to see what their new scheme would be. I think that's the only new coach. Just to get an idea of what they could be looking to do now. West Coast zone run. And their offense does not fit. The defense does. They're set up to run the 46. Okay then. But sticking with the Anthony Lynn playbooks. So I don't expect a whole lot there in terms of the play calling then. Because sometimes you'll see coaches move on and change the playbook somewhere. So they're still running the same stuff, but like the Chiefs are running the Doug Peterson playbook now in the game. The Colts are running Pat Shurmur's. I'm surprised they changed coaches and did not change playbooks. You'll see here that in most cases, when there's a different coach, there's a different playbook to go with it. Matt Nagy in New England. Sean McVay still with the Raiders. So that's pretty cool. Bears run Kingsbury's offense. Oh, is Swami here? What's going on? We got Blackjack here. We got Swami in the house. Love it. All right, so we already had one retirement, but it was one we kind of expected. We have $44.9 million in cap space right now. And remember, we're setting aside future capital so we can bring back Jamari Akinjide. All the players here with one will be free agents next year. So these are all the players we have to think about if we want to keep around long term. Summers, Price, Granger, Vashawn Wright, I forgot about him. Muldrow, Redgrave, Rory Haylett-Swinton. Of course, Akinjide. And a bunch of key players this year as well. So what can we do with 44.9 for this season? I guess I have some upgrades here to spend. 1. Where did this come from? Where did Lloyd get the experience all of a sudden? We have won 3 consecutive Super Bowls in the series, and I think that this year will probably be tougher just because of the way the salary cap is. So the story for this year is like, can we maintain success despite all the change that's probably going to happen? Just because the salary cap matters now. The key players that helped us get to those championships are on big deals now. They're not on rookie contracts anymore. So a lot of things could be different. Well, Kane, I have to go to work, but as a parting gift to my favorite creator, here you go. No offense, Swami. I love you too. Appreciate it, Jacob. And the stream will be here as a VOD when you finish working. Have a good day. So let's talk contracts now. I think that it becomes very hard to consider signing players like Darnell Savage and Bradley Chubb to big deals. While we're here, though, we need to go and check regression just to see what happened there. One of the most important menus that I think a lot of people miss if they're not aware of it. This is the only chance in the entire year you can check regression is this week. So Bradley Chubb down 12 points, still a good player. Jack is down 12, 3 of that's coverage, 4 of it's tackle. Didn't lose any speed though or anything. Acceleration and agility down a little bit. Matt Killhouse is down. He's set to be a free agent. Damian Charles beginning to regress. Lindsey Muldrow just a little bit. Savage down 10. Ezra Love down 10 at age 28. That's unlucky. I edited Nate Sheffield. The chat convinced me in a stream that for more realism, to knock down Sheffield's development just because he has not played like an X Factor 2 years in. So I thought that made sense. You know, these years have not been great. Let's push his development down to star. All right. If we want to create space for whatever reason, here are the best players for that. Obviously not cutting Akinjide. Bradley Chubb's already a free agent. Deion Price, you could cut him. Can't see that happening. Not many ways to open up space. The main thing we're doing today is we're definitely going to trade Corville, but we're going to incur a penalty as a result. I want to put him on the trade block. I think I have to wait till next week. Alright then, we are on to re-signing now. And as I said, I think it becomes very difficult to try to re-sign Savage, Chubb, and some of these other players. The big question mark, though, is Tyrone Houston. We are going to trade away Terrell Corville today. And Houston has some really good ratings, but we have not really seen him play at a high level. How many snaps has he been getting? 309 a couple years ago, 219 this past year, and we've only seen him find the end zone once. He had like one big play this year on a deep ball. Do you give him 10 plus a year when that's all we've really seen? I think that's kind of a risky call there. I think Vashawn Wright is somebody I'll want to sign long term. So can we sign Houston and still sign Wright next year? Darnell Livingston, we didn't see a lot from him. He'll get a contract somewhere. That's just too much for us. Most of these deals, I think, are just a little too much for us to consider at the moment. Houston has so much potential. You need to keep him. I think you could go... That one's going to be, I think, very conflicting because the potential's right there with superstar dev, 25 years old. You just haven't seen it yet. And he does need, you know, a fair amount of XP to get future upgrades, but the ratings are pretty solid. Especially if you were to say, okay, can he fill Corville's role? The ratings are really good. He got so much dev, by the way, because he got Rookie of the Year, or Pro Bowl as a rookie at kick returner. And it boosted his development big time. Right off the bat, I know I'm not going to be giving Bradley Chubb $14 million a season now, so we're going to withdraw any offer there. For Deontay Walker, because we have a lot of linebackers here who are free agents, I think I'll want to try to keep Walker, and then probably Jarrett will go. Hayward still has star. He wants a little over $2 million a year. Yeah, I still like Hayward. And he has that star dev at 25 years old. Trying to make sure this doesn't get declined. There we go. I do like Jaron Castile. I think I'll come back to him later. Brody Woods is solid. Jameel Garland's been here forever. We'll let Love go. We probably got to let Tommy Jordan go. And I think we also let Cam Smithson go because we have Cornell Bullitt now. Smithson's been a solid rotational rusher in this series. Playing a fair amount of snaps every year. But I think Bullitt's going to play a lot next year. Is the face cam in the way? It's got to be somewhere. I don't know if left or right is better right now. The thing is with Jordan, he could play free safety, but that's where I want Watts to play. I want somebody else who can play strong safety. And maybe Jordan could, but I think this is one of those deals I have to pass on with where we are financially. I will try it bottom right. Tell me what you think of that. And then I can flip the cam. Cameron Britt. Now, this might be a situation where we can just sign him to a really small deal because he's a 65. Okay. Vaughn Tatum. I think we should keep him. I think that he's somebody we could look at developing a little bit. $2 million. I've seen that cap space just continue to drop. I like Deontay Walker as well. Let's sign him to a 2-year if we can. There we go. See, those are the more easy decisions. Everything else is just so much tougher. And knowing that we're going to have some holes along the offensive line, like right guard just opened up and right tackle's open too. So that's kind of where I want to save money, especially for free agency. There are options in the draft as well, but if I need 2 players, then I can't count on drafting 2 starters there. So we'll probably let Tommy Jordan test, open to bringing him back. Jameel Garland, kind of same situation there. Brody Woods, we'll let him test. Payne and Livingston, I don't think I'm giving offers right now. And this is not the time of year to be offering like 1-year contracts. And Savage we're going to let test as well. So all we're left with now is Tyrone Houston. Do we offer or do we not? Very good speed, good hands. The release looks good. Like, the ratings are really good. Not the short route running, but it's a really big deal. Doesn't really have the elusiveness and juke that I've been looking for to add to the offense. I wouldn't mind like a 1-year deal to see what would happen. Like, the franchise tag might make sense, but it's going to be like $18 million. So that's a huge premium. If we signed him, we'd have 20 million left. That's 20 million to figure out two O-line spots. Keep in mind we have 2 second-round picks. We can move some things around there. And then adding safety. Yeah, it definitely could fit. Edge rusher will open up after Chubb is a free agent. I don't want to give him the deal. We're withdrawing the offer. I think with who we have, our running backs, with Summers, with Wright, I want to make sure we can keep that together. And then we'll look at maybe a receiver who fits more what I'm looking for. Because Houston, he's a downfield receiver. And I think that downfield role in the offense probably shouldn't have the big investment. We don't have the best deep passing game. We're not getting those big plays all that often. We just saw Corville put up less than 900 yards. So to immediately just hand another receiver similar money to play the same role, I want to make that role cheaper and try to put a bigger investment in somebody that I think is an actual fit for what I want to do. You could probably get a receiver in free agency for the same production for a fraction of the cost. Possibly. I mean, I don't know who's going to be out there, but I just think that I'd kind of be doing the same thing if I just got rid of Corville and signed Houston. During the year, I felt like that was a big flaw, to have the downfield receiver have so much investment and then not get the football as much. I felt like there was just something missing there. And Houston, I think he fits what I'm looking for better than Corville athletically, but he still doesn't have the catch and run ability, and that's what I want to add. We know Vashon Wright is not a catch and run receiver, and he's not going to be. He's a possession receiver. So if I want to find the right guy, I have to keep looking. So we advance. And thank you, Franz, for becoming a new member to the channel. I appreciate that very much. So we currently have about 30 million in cap space. It's not a ton. And I want to make sure Corville's on the trade block now. I don't think I'll really get any good offers. But when it comes to like the kind of receiver I want to add to the team, you know, from that Rams game we played in like week 13, the prototype for what I'm looking for is Dallas Levine. And he is also an X factor. He has 91 speed, 95 acceleration, really good short route running with good elusiveness, juke, and some spin and break tackle. I really want a receiver who can excel in these categories here. because I think getting the ball out quick and having somebody who can create some yards afterwards is what this offense desperately needs. I just felt like everything last year, like we'd throw and then we wouldn't get much more than wherever the receiver caught the ball. We have a slow tight end. We have Rashawn Wright, who's not making anybody miss. Corville wasn't either. So Dallas Levine is exactly who I want. Let me save quick. We could look for a potential trade because I don't know what free agency is going to give us. Here is this year's free agent class, and a ton of teams are interested in Darnell Savage. David Bakhtiari is available. Bradley Chubb's getting a lot of interest. So is Andrew Talley, an 85 overall right guard. Zach Ertz, Herb Smith, DeForest Buckner. A lot of interest here around the league for Tyrone Houston. Benny Huggins is available. Prescott Pemberton III is a free agent. He'll get a shot somewhere else now. There are a fair amount of interesting free agents in this class. Obviously, we're looking for a couple starters along the O-line, and we may be targeting that in the draft. I think there are plenty of options. Left side is pretty much going to stay the same, but the right side... Oh, Hillhouse is still under contract. I thought he was a free agent. Forgot about him. We could continue starting Hillhouse, but he's not a great tackle. Somebody's got to start at right guard now. Zach Martin made a huge difference. Right now at receiver, we only have Sully, Wright, and Corville. So we've got to add somebody there. And now defensively, we're looking at Deacon and Walker playing edge over here. Who plays safety now? Because Watts is moving to free. We need a new strong safety. I don't think Avery Zellner is going to be that player. I don't think he has the run-stopping capabilities. So if we go to wideout, obviously Tyrone Houston has a lot of interest around the league, but potentially Kansas City's there. Livingston has a lot of interest now from San Francisco. There's Dylan Glanton, Cliff Bell Johnson, Ricardo Fox. This doesn't have to be like a super high rated player. I'm looking for someone who fits the role. So I don't know much about Dylan Glanton. He was on the Lions this past year. He does have good short route running, but these secondary attributes aren't where I want them. So he's basically got Vashawn Wright's skill set. We have Vashawn Wright already. Trade Corville in a second for Levine. Yeah, I mean, that's something we could consider. Like, I try to make trades that I feel like the CPU benefits from as well and makes sense to them. Does it make sense for them to give up Dallas Levine? That's been what I've had trouble kind of justifying ever since I targeted him as somebody that fits exactly what I want. When it comes to the deep threat role in the offense, I think I just want somebody that's on a smaller contract because they're getting less opportunities. It just doesn't make sense to pay a deep threat $10 million plus on our team, the way we play the game. Merrill Spence would not be a bad option for maybe a small one-year deal. Look at the trade block. I'll take a look. Oh, by the way, can I put Corville on the trade block now? I can't remember if I did or not. Alright, he is. Quan Tippins. 82 overall, David Covington. How about a wide receiver? Yeah, you just don't end up with too many intriguing players here. He's got elusiveness and juke. A little bit less speed. Oh yeah, we're pretty far into the future, so guys like Cooper Kupp and anybody who was in the game when it all started is regressing now. Most of them. So a lot of ratings are way, way down. Alright, so I am concerned about that right guard spot. Andrew Talley could be a target if we want to go $11 million into an offensive lineman right now. And just keep in mind what that means for the future and trying to keep Jamari Akinjide and some of these other players, because you can't keep everybody, especially when you have guys like Boogie Turner getting just massive contracts. Talley would be perfect, but on a 5-year deal, that's where the risk comes into play. It's just all about what signing him means as far as who we lose. So another option then would be to go with somebody like Shaq Mason for like a year. That way, you know, it doesn't hurt us long term. But some of these ratings here are good, some not so much. 81 strength, is that good enough in the running game? Tally is 88. There are a lot of guards in this class that I like, so starting to think about offensive line a lot with our early pick. Savage, Bakhtiari, Chubb, Herb Smith. Would I consider drafting a receiver round 1? If I trade Corville and haven't found a replacement, I think I'd have to. Robert Carroll. Kind of interesting. RJ Bailey as well, both from that Florida team that beat us in the title in Kalispell. Payne is getting interest already from Oakland, so that's not looking as likely for a return. This is pretty tough to figure out where to start. 93 spec catch here. I wonder what you could do with DeMarcus Johnson with these ratings. Will Fuller at 71 overall. What's his speed at though? 91 these days. Kenny Galladay. Speed's way down. I'm not looking for someone that does like what Vashawn Wright does. Ricardo Fox has some pretty good route running. Cliff Bell Johnson also has interest from Oakland. I don't really want to compete with these kind of big deals. So if we wanted to make a trade that we felt like was fair and made sense for the Rams, who are coming off a missed playoff season, they actually were really, really good for a long time, and then they lost 4 straight. They were 9-3 and then played us and never won again. If we wanted to make a trade that we felt was fair and benefited both teams, I think we'd have to look at Levine as like the more valuable receiver. He is younger, by the way. They don't list receiver as a need, but if we wanted Dallas Levine, say, you know, he fits what we want to do, Corville maybe fits what they want to do. If we give up Terrell Corville and maybe a pick, they like Corville. They have interest. And even if it's like our higher second round pick, do we think this would be fair? Swap receivers, we get somebody who fits our offense a lot better, and we give them a pick. This trade doesn't make sense for LA. Yeah, it is hard to justify why they would make that move, just considering how good he is. Unless we just gave so many picks that it was like, all right, now it makes sense. A lot of people don't think it's realistic. I respect that. Is there another receiver that we think could be a target? Oh man, I want Dallas Levine. So if we sort by elusiveness, 86 is the best you're going to see. Levine's is 82. DJ Moore would be a good fit for what I want to do. Trill Diamond, Stephon Diggs, Dom Blades, also on the Rams. Not quite Dallas Levine, but he does have some of those secondary ratings that I was wanting. So Levine is also one of the best short route runners at 95. Give them Corville and Sheffield and go all in on Prescott Pemberton the third. Thank you, Blitzkrieg, for the super chat. I don't think I'll be doing that. I'm trying to end the quarterback carousel. You know how many quarterbacks who started in this series? It's embarrassing. Interesting. It has Vashawn Wright as one of the better like elusiveness, spin, and juke combos, but and he has some decent speed, but he doesn't have the ability to after the catch. I've tried. It doesn't work with him. He's a possession receiver, and that's kind of it for now. Clifford. Oh man, Marquand Clifford's already been signed to a big deal, by the way. What are the chances of trading either quarterback this offseason? Very, very little. I don't have really any interest in making those kind of moves right now. What was the speed again for Levine? 91. See, I think it's these ratings that are a little more crucial, as long as you have enough speed. Acceleration's very key. Preston Rhodes, Marquise Brown, Nick Lindsay, Shaheem Rogers. Not quite. Ben Ayers. I don't want to trade for a massive contract too, unless it was like Dallas Levine and they were young and it would fit. Oh man. Nathan Butler. This isn't easy. Where's Debo? He's probably super low rated if he's still in our league somewhere. And he would have retired. He's not listed here. Maybe he's a free agent. Do the Rams need quarterback? Let's see. Okay, what do the Rams need? If we want to justify it, we'd have to really help them out. Right tackle, left end, linebacker. Their quarterback is Jared Goff at 32. How was Goff last year? Not bad. Some steady production here. They're solid at running back. Dallas Levine, LaMarcus Sampson. Really need a right tackle. Adrian Spikes. Why do you need middle linebacker? Why is that your third need with Adrian Spikes, Josh Mayweather, and Kazimir Sokolov? It's one of your strongest position groups. Corner. I think if you were to do a trade here, that could make sense for them. Alex says Corville, second, third, and Jean-Charles. I can only do 3 at a time. Listening at work. Appreciate it, Gary. Thank you. If it was Corville and Damian Charles, I think that you could start to justify it there. Their best corner is Desmond Good. That's 1. But after that, they're very thin. Ooh. I think that could start to make a little sense, because if I want to keep Granger, I might have to move on from Charles. Ooh. Corville, Charles, and like a mid-round pick or something. And we would get Dallas Levine. And we'd have that playmaker that really fits what I'm looking for. Lauren, thank you for becoming a new member to the channel. I appreciate that very much. Go even crazier, Corville and McKinney. McKinney's untouchable. No, McKinney is untouchable. No way I would give him up. Hey, Kane, if you do the MLB The Show franchise, I suggest the Colorado Rockies is the next franchise ever since Arenado got traded to the Cards. Yeah, that team's kind of in rough shape now. I mean, their roster I thought was a little bit thin to begin with. Like, you'd face, you know, Charlie Blackmon, Trevor Story, and Nolan Arenado, and then it's like, alright, once you get past that, you're fine. And now Arenado's gone? Oof. And you gotta put up some runs to keep up in Coors, and most teams coming in there got the better matchup, I think. Isaiah, thank you for becoming a new member on the channel. I appreciate that very much. Oh man, I'm going to come back to this. What's Levine's contract situation too? I have actually spent some time looking at some receiving backs in the draft anyway. I'm not sure about at currently in the league, but I could take a look at that. It's not a bad idea. What's Levine's contract like? 3 years left on it. First round pick a few years ago. What's the Rams cap situation? They have 33 million in space. We might be coming back to that possibility, though. I think that you could start to justify it if we give them a receiver, obviously Corville, and then fill a gap on their team with a really good player. Super risky. But, I want Dallas Levine. I wonder if I could bring in Andrew Talley on a different kind of contract that wouldn't be as difficult long-term to manage. That gets us competing there. But we have a lot of signings to take care of next season. So it's like the difficulty ramps up immediately. Yeah, I think I'll wait until I see combine results. It doesn't have to be right now. What would a 1-year deal look like if we just went like to 14? 97? I don't mind that. I love doing this with veterans, just throwing out the massive 1-year deal. 106. I'll drop it just a little bit. Still leaves us with some money to fill some depth spots on the roster. $103. No, I have to go at least to like 105. I want 105 to show up. All right. So that's a big 1-year offer for Andrew Talley. Anybody else I want to consider right now? Maybe receiving backs at running back that I think are versatile. Trey Williams already has an offer. He'd be decent. I may come back to RJ Bailey just because I think he'd be a good third running back. There are some pretty good receiving backs here. We could reunite the LSU teammates, Tim Snyder and Donovan Jennings, all from the Kalispell Dynasty. So if we start with Tally, Kirkland Reeves, finesse, speed, block shed, awareness. If we wanted to sign a veteran to compete at the edge rush spot, Kirkland Reeves wouldn't be a bad option, but he does, oh, he wants big money. I didn't even realize Houston's about to hand him $40 million. Whoa. All right, then. That makes things a little bit tougher. Tommy Jordan has some interest here. And it's like if we did trade away Damian Charles, all of a sudden then, like, I have a lot more interest in keeping Tommy Jordan, but we haven't done that yet. I could look at these safeties as well. Oh, Garland has interest now from Green Bay. Like, everybody that was on our team has interest now from somebody. Man, take that route running receiver in the draft, play him in the slot, and draft a run after catch receiver later in the draft. That's another possibility. I think I'm just going to sim this first stage and then see what happens. I want combine grades to come out and maybe give me a little more options. So we're probably going to lose on a lot of players here that I have some interest in but didn't offer to. We got Andrew Talley for a year. Potentially longer if we want to sign him later. So there is your Zach Martin replacement. That's big, because now offensive line doesn't have to be a priority in the draft. It still wouldn't be a bad idea because Muldrow is in his late 20s and so is Hillhouse. But Talley's a big addition there. That helps replace Zach Martin big time. That was so big for having our run game play at a high level. So I'm glad we're not having a massive drop off there. That's a cool move for us. Keep in mind at receiver, we still only have Corville, who will be traded, Vashawn Wright, and Colt Sully. He has not done much in his first 3 years. Sully has some catch and run skills for sure. He missed his first year on IR, caught some passes 2025, and then not much a year ago because there were so many receivers in front of him on the depth chart. What team did Talley come from? The Vikings, I'm pretty sure. Why not longer for Talley? Because we have so many deals that are due next year. I didn't want his to interfere with it. I just wasn't ready to make a big investment there. We currently have 23 million in cap space now, it's saying. Let's save and take a look at who got big deals. Ooh, David Bakhtiari is still available, but Darnell Savage is going to KC? No, you can't stay in division. No. Bradley Chubb to the Ravens. I could picture him playing for the Ravens one day. Irv Smith to the Saints. Buckner to the Panthers. Houston to the Browns. That's your Odell Beckham replacement now, all of a sudden. It's him and Mike Holmes. Huggins to the Bears. Pemberton to the New York Giants. They do replace Jason Murray. And it looks like Jason Murray has a new home in Dallas, replacing Dak Prescott. Wow. Cliff Bell Johnson to the Raiders. Cam Smith's into KC? If you can't beat them, join them, I guess. Go ahead and target all our players. Now, Justin Payne to the Raiders. We're going to see a lot of these players again. Bozeman to the Bears. So what I thought was really weird there is that, like, the Chargers need receiver. Do they realize how bad they need receiver? I didn't see them targeting any. Receiver is listed as one of their top needs. You got Mike Williams at 32 years old, Allen Johnson. You're not the same without Keenan Allen. Hunter Henry's up there too. Kerryon Johnson's 30. This team needs playmakers. I cannot wait to see what they do in the draft to support Oliver Raymond. Corville to the Chargers would make sense. We're not trading him in division at all. If we want to look at other teams, like who would need a receiver the most, that makes sense for a trade. Starting with the Chicago Bears. Okay, Buffalo. Oh, that's going to be a pretty good nucleus here in Cleveland. You're talking about Randall Cross at 23. You have Nick Chubb, who's a veteran, but now Holmes at 24 and Houston at 25. That's a nice situation. Aging veterans in Tampa. Cardinals are pretty loaded here. Colts could use a receiver. Miami. I don't really want to help them out, though. I would prefer to trade him to the NFC, you know, to like the LA Rams. Receiver could still be a need for the Raiders. Just cut Frederick so I can sign him, please. I like him. You keep replacing him. Dallas Levine. Houston has a big need. But again, I'm not really trying to help out AFC teams a ton. All right, let's check out some combine numbers now and see, like, all right, we've been talking about receiver a ton. We'll get there after I check Cameron Grimes' 40 time. Whoa! 4-4-4 40-yard dash. And he might not be the first quarterback taken. It'll either be him or Ikechukwu, who isn't slow, but strong arm quarterback. All right, so first receiver here is Cornell McAllister, a route runner who didn't have a great 3-cone or shuttle. And those are the ratings, the combine skills I really want to see as a positive if we were to get this receiver role filled that I want. Roshan Mashaka, that's where he's really good, but he ran a 4.5. Now, 4.5 can still be enough with 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle that good. The thing is with Mashaka is he's a great route runner and you have no idea how good he is at catching the football. It's a complete guess. The receiver I really liked from scouting is Lamyron Spellman, and he ran a 4.58 with just like an above average 3-cone. The shuttle was good. So good routes, low speed. I was hoping he'd be a little bit faster. I also liked LJ Molina. 3-cone and 20-yard aren't great, but he's 6'4". You're not really expecting him to be the shiftiest receiver. So if we go through and just look for like really good 3-cones, let's start back toward the top. Nope. Nope. I want like top 5s there. Okay, Stephen Kemp. Deep threat. And a really good route runner. Stephen Kemp fits. Possibly. There are so many receivers here, you're completely guessing on their catching ability. Like, literally, you're just guessing. Oh, man. DJ Valencia. Quay Bronson Bowers. Nope. Doesn't fit. Nope. Nope. Well, maybe. 7th and 8th. Oh, yay. Another player who's catching your guessing on. Whoa, you're talking 48th in the 40, 49th at 3-cone, 50th at 20-yard, but he's strong with a great vertical leap. I am now in the 7th round looking for more receivers who fit the role I'm desperately trying to fill. I'm now in the undrafted range. I am going to the bottom of the list, I hope you know. Oh, I can't scout further. Well, I am going to continue this. I'll just put players on my board. Where is the player who can fill the role that only Dallas Levine can fill? Trade for Houston. I'm just going to go all the way to the bottom at this point. I just want to see a good 3-cone, 20-yard. You could run a 4.5. All right. That's everybody. That is everybody. Well, I'm not done exactly here. So a few more of my favorites in this class. At safety, there was Darian Wakefield. And the combine checks out. Very good. Definitely somebody who's going to be in play. At strong safety now, Brandon Edwards. Still solid. I like him. Either one would be a solid addition. And then I have a lot more of these grades on my computer saved. So for instance here, another player I liked was Bynes. And he has B pursuit, B hit power, B minus zone coverage, and is a late 2nd round player. Good combine though. And at 6'4". So I'm still interested in him too. Yeah, it's a good call. Not all the rack guys are burners, but they need to have that change of direction. That's why I'm looking at 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Like, if you just run a 4.55, but you have elite, like, acceleration agility, that's fine. I think you'll fit what I'm looking for. It doesn't have to be monster speed. That's a plus. I think at safety, the draft is probably going to be the best spot for us to look. And now 2 teams want Garland. He could stay in division. Let's live a little this offseason. 2 major trades. Acquire Oliver Raymond and get Livingston. Not going that wild with the trades. I don't like to do a lot in division. I don't do anything I haven't really seen before. Divisions, teams in the same division rarely trade meaningful players or picks. I don't want to overlook this stage of free agency either, so I just want to see, like, where could we add somebody At wideouts here, we have a couple guys returning. Do you want my, like, deep sleeper at wide receiver? Yeah, Donovan McNabb was traded, and you saw why the Eagles were willing to give him up. He just wasn't very good anymore. I think my Coach XP, I've already used it all. I think I've bought everything I could possibly buy. All right. Deep sleeper at wide receiver. You ready? Dante Ricks at the very bottom. 61 overall. I'm telling you, deep preseason sleeper. 93 speed, 81 deep route running, 73 catching. He might get some chances. Where do I need to possibly add somebody? O-line depth. I shouldn't sleep there. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should add another one. Edge rusher. Yeah. I've got to add somebody at some point today. Although Toa can kind of do some of that. He's a utility linebacker. Yeah, it's safety too. It's looking very thin. At least we got Andrew Talley. I mean, that's pretty good. Three teams now interested in Tommy Jordan, so he hasn't been traded quite yet. And now a lot more interest for a lot of these wide receivers. This is a really tough offseason. Checking out some of these deep threats, they might be worth a look in preseason. Lamar Williams. Starting to regress. The problem is I see a lot of areas we could target, but I think like, oh, the draft is going to be better for adding another edge rusher or an offensive lineman. And I'm trying to save cap space. Corville, Hillhouse, and a 2 for Levine. I'm still thinking about possible Levine trades. But I think at the end of the day, if the chat doesn't think it's realistic to acquire him, then I won't make the move. Cameron had 98 agility. Yeah, very good speed, acceleration, agility, deep route running. I wish it was good short route running. But on a one-year deal to see what could happen in preseason or whatever, I'll give a one-year deal to Terrell Cameron. I'm also going to give a small one-year deal to RJ Bailey. I think he could do Danny Heath's role just at a higher level. Possibly. These are small, but sometimes low-rated players will just take them. That ain't bad. Problem is getting a 76 overall to take a super small deal. Might get lucky on one of these deals. Probably not all of them. Let's sim a stage here. Free agency's tough today. RJ Bailey has accepted the contract, so there's another running back, reducing the odds of me drafting one. Not to 0, but still reducing the odds. Just a solid running back here. He's pretty well-rounded. Can catch the football, runs with power. .78 injury, though, is pretty low. We'll see. Fifth-year options for this year. Do we pick up the option on JT Granger? I think we absolutely do. Definitely. Love the way he played last year. Last 2 years have been really good. So that at least delays the long-term deal. But the fifth-year option is still valuable. So his contract next year will boost up to 13.7. So you're not getting any kind of a discount on a fifth-year option. Now we're just guaranteeing that his next year's contract is 13.7. 1 second, just getting hot in here. Yeah, I mean, I could always move Price back to receiver. I like him a lot at running back. The only thing there is that his route runnings, like, he has an easier time getting open as a running back than he would as a receiver for the role that I want. And I can still, you know, line him up at receiver from time to time. But what makes Levine so interesting is that he has very good short route running and all these other skills. It's a rare combination. That's why I can't find other players that have it. All right, so continuing to scout here. Trajan Baskerville. How high does he go? The #1 tight end. He's an early first-round talent. His top 3 is A- spec catch, B+ catching, B+ catch in traffic. How high do you see him going? I think he goes in the top 5 somewhere. I don't think he slides very far. Really excited to see who takes him high. And KJ Holiday is one of the blue chip players as well. He's really a can't miss corner. He has A- zone, B+ awareness, B zone coverage, and the combine is very, very good. Don't let the chat make you forget the Texans traded away a top receiver for a few picks, an older running back, and a moldy ham sandwich. That's right. I mean, nothing's going to compare to the DeAndre Hopkins trade, no matter what. But if I were to make that deal, I'd also have to consider, am I willing to give up Damian Charles to get an upgrade at receiver when we're already losing Bradley Chubb and Darnell Savage? That's already 2 key starters lost. Do I want to make it 3? That's the other part of it. Ultimately, it's very, very tricky this year. I like a lot of the corners in this range, though. So if I had to draft a corner, I'm very confident I could find a capable replacement. I'm curious here. If I go to the Rams, what kind of receiver are they looking for? A route runner. I'm pretty sure that's what Levine is. So Levine fits their offense perfectly. Very difficult to justify why they would trade him. Although, yeah, we have seen a lot of wild receiver-related trades, you know, with Diggs and Beckham and Hopkins. I'm really curious if I just offered this, what they would do. I would just be afraid of them, like, accepting it. I just want to know how much they like Corville. They have high interest. What if I put in Damian Charles? They like him too. They even like Mac Hillhouse. Just save an attempt. Okay, I'll try that. I'll back out and I'll just do straight up just to gauge interest on what they think. Come on. Because what I think would be interesting is if the bar only filled up like halfway. Like they were valuing, you know, Corville to an extent, but not for Levine straight up. Like if this is 3/4 of the way filled, I think it's too much. Wow. Wow. So I feel like while they like Corville, if I wanted to make this to work, they would make me give up a ton to the point where you could say it is a reasonable trade. They like Levine that much more. And we're talking about green interest, both X factors. Corville's 2 years older. All right, I'm going to continue this experiment for science purposes, of course. No shot. Absolutely not. That is wild. Wild stuff. All right, how much do they value a first-round pick? Less than Corville. Wow. This actually won't work. This trade would not work. We're not even close. So they value Levine a lot. I'm happy to see the CPU not letting a trade happen like easily. I thought this would work easily though. I thought this would happen. You know, you're talking about swapping receivers within a point of overall, another high quality starter at a need in a first round pick, and they're like, no. Wow. We can't acquire Dallas Levine as much as I want to. And that's like the absolute highest I could go in a trade. With that being said, then, I think we have to think about making this Corville trade happen now. Saints. Anybody with receiver in top 3 is getting on my list. Well, not them. I can't believe they value Levine that much. I thought that Charles and Corville together could get it done. You know what makes sense here? The Giants trying to trade for Corville after getting Pemberton. That would make a lot of sense. I try to make my trades make sense. I try to find the justification. And when I'm making trades in season, I only trade veterans to teams who have at least a 500 record. So I'm never going to trade, you know, a 32-year-old safety in a contract year to a 2-5 team. Maybe to a team chasing a playoff spot. So I try to make it make sense. Just for fun, offer them Boogie to see if they say no. Just for science. How much do you like Dallas Levine? Are you kidding me? They refuse to trade him. They absolutely refuse to trade Dallas Levine. It could be Boogie Turner, Damian Charles, and Terrell Corville. We have found, like, you know when teams talk about, like, quarterbacks being untouchable, like you could never trade for, you know, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, those guys in their prime? That's Dallas Levine right now. You just can't get him. Could we find a receiver who was on a bad team last year that wants out? That happens all the time. Oh, don't even get me started on Trill Diamond. Unfortunately, a lot of these teams actually have like really good receivers. Like Augustine's here. The Lions have like 3 good receivers, including Sherrod Edwards. Packers have Trill Diamond. Steelers have Juju, the highest rated receiver in the league. The Vikings have Diggs. Packers have Trill Diamond, and then Preston Rhodes, who's pretty solid. I'm just really curious now, obviously in the name of science, what would they like, what would they think about Corville for Diamond? Oh, we can't go down this road. This ain't gonna work, guys. This does not work. I think the Giants make a ton of sense for adding Corville. Receiver is a need. They just added a brand new quarterback. They'd like to support him. as much as possible. Do they have any players I'm interested in? Actually, at linebacker, Trayshawn Brown's really good, but no reason to give him up. Picks are nice. Giants pick at 10. So 10 and 42. Let's see. Let's go to the Saints. Do they have anybody I would like to acquire? Anyway, they have Brian Winters, who's supposed to be pretty good. Or Barry Winters. Didn't play much as a rookie. Normal development. Yeah, I think if we traded Corville for a first, we have to give up something else, like a 3. Winters here is really interesting because of his route runnings. The catch in traffic and spec catch is really low on him. Nathan Butler. Another interesting player. The Saints have some receivers, they just haven't developed yet. And they just added A.J. Brown. Saints pick at 12 and 44. The Texans not wanting to trade him there. They pick at 18 and 50. Chicago. Benny Huggins, the new starter there. That'll be interesting. They really need a new receiver. That could be their first round target. But it doesn't have to be. Alan Argento. It's a pretty solid team there. But they're picking a lot later. The Bengals pick at 17 and 49. Do they have anybody I'd want to acquire? See, I'd be worried about just helping them compete against us. They've been a successful team in the series. A little bit down year this past season. So I'm going to cross off the Bengals. I'm probably going to cross off Miami too. The Colts. They were a playoff team. They just added Dak Prescott. The Saints have the interesting receivers you could get in return, potentially. This is tough. I do think it's interesting to try to get up to 10. Trade with the Giants. The Saints are at 12, so either one. But that would get us into the higher tier of the draft. We'd move up from 32 to 10. I would give up more than Corville to do it. Like, I think this could be considered fair. A good starter at receiver and our second round pick, and they fall all the way to 32. Do we think that'd be fair? People saying too much. I'm trying to make a trade that I think would be fair for them, not just get it to go through. Because you're talking about them being able to pick at top 10 versus 32. The caliber of player you're getting is so much different. You do get Corville out of it. How about the third? Yeah, Corville's a good receiver. I mean, he's like a borderline 1,000-yard guy. He's a really good deep threat. He can be a number one. They'll want to make the upgrade there. They can't get a better receiver at 10, obviously. And it's not a strong receiver class, keep in mind. It might be good for adding like a second or third receiver, but from what we've scouted, it's not a class where you can go and get like a day one impact. You might be able to get a difference maker, but there's no early first round receiver in this class. There's nobody that is going to be above a mid first talent. And Corville is the number 10 receiver in the league. So I think the other thing we could consider is like packaging the 2s together, or a 2 and a 3. Again, if we make this deal, I want it to be fair for New York. And if they're going to drop from their top 10 pick, it has to be worth it. If it's our early 2 and 3, and we can get to top 10, I think that is pretty reasonable. Although, now they're dropping from 10 to 41. They'd be picking at 41 and 42. That's why I had the first round swap. Because then they're still, 22 picks back. They can still do something with that, giving up the equity at 10. What did the Vikings get for Diggs? That was a first and a 4. Let me see the full details. And keep in mind, this is a pick swap. This is not, traded Corville for a first round pick. It's a pick swap. So it was Diggs and a 7 for a first, a fifth, a sixth, and a fourth. So I think the first round pick makes sense in here, and I'll throw in the third round pick and see if they'll take that. I think this is a fair trade. They fall back to 32. They get the value out of that in Corville and a third round pick. The deal's done. I think that's fair. The value between pick 10 and 32 is massive. Corville helps fill that with a third round pick. I could have probably done it for a lot less. The game would probably allow me. I'm talking about what would be considered fair for them. So now I get to pick at 10. What can I do at 10 versus 32? A whole lot more. Now I get the ability to draft one of these guys. I didn't before. And I'm not ruling out Trajan Baskerville if he makes it to our pick. So now we pick at 10 in the first round, 9 in the second. We still have 2 second round picks, but no third. I also like the pass rushers in this range here. But now we get to play the game of who's there at 10. I don't know. No matter what, I was going to make people unhappy with the trade, whether it was like for Levine and it wasn't realistic, but the Levine trade was never going to work. I feel like that was fair. The Giants would have a reason to target him. Pick swap here gets us higher in that round. I think it makes sense. Corville's, a top 10 receiver. I'd say borderline top 10. He is the 10th best. And he's 28. I think it works out for both teams. He was a top 10 guy, but he's not the kind of receiver I need for the role that I want on the offense. And if anybody thinks they can just let KJ Holiday make it to 10 and that's a good idea, he's easily taken. Just got here. What happened so far? Leo, we just traded Terrell Corville. We traded with the New York Giants, who added Prescott Pemberton III, and we are going to be picking 10th now. We moved up our first round pick. We leapfrogged a bunch. You can get Baskerville and put him in the slot or outside and have Summers play inline tight end during trips formation. There's a lot of things that we could do here if we end up going and taking Baskerville. That would be really fun. Just the way that would open up the offense. It would be a lot different from what I've been envisioning, but for good reasons. I wanted to check our schedule for this year. I just want to see who's on it. So this is the up... No? Not yet? I thought it would pop up now. That's weird. Maybe after the draft it shows up. Because you can find out before preseason your whole schedule. But we can't right now. Alright, so continuing to scout here. We have to know the top 10 pretty well. We've already scouted a lot of these players. Pretty much all of them. Yeah, Bojangle, we haven't seen a 2 tight end offense quite like the Patriots. I think that would hurt keeping around Summers long term. So even if we make a move here and we have 2 really good tight ends, then it might be a 1-year thing. It's just, if I have a chance to take a game change like Baskerville, it's very hard to pass. Oh man, I wish Dallas Levine was a Bronco, man. You know what I mean? Gerard Gaddison could fit. 4.5 is enough. The 3-cone, the shuttle are okay. He's a good route runner. Gerard Gaddison. Baskerville and Holiday have normal dev. There's no reason to think that. We don't have any reason to believe that. It's a custom draft class. They could be anything. It could be normal, but it's not an EA class, so you couldn't just base it off any knowledge, really. Yeah, Rashawn Mashaka, if you want to take a shot here, not knowing his catching ability. There's a lot of options at receiver. It's just nobody that we know for sure would fit it. That role could be filled or it could not. I have to finish scouting Smith here if I can. Did I ever scout him fully? Oh, I did. The problem is I'm going to have such little data now for late in the draft based on how I spend my points. That could be an issue. Well, we're losing that. I can't believe. Oh, Bakhtiari to the Chiefs as well? They're making big moves. Wow. This is going to be a fun season. All right, stage 4. All right, got a little bit of scouting here. I've got to spend it on players I could potentially take late. So let me look at my my draft info here and see, like, what do I have for late round options? Because there aren't a lot. Like corner in the 4th or 5th. In the 6th and 7th, I'll be guessing, based on everything I've done so far. I might be trading up even, just because that's who I know in this class. Hey Mason, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Let's see, any late round edge rushers here with combines that pop? Oh yeah, Markel Ingram from Kalispell. I'll have his data in here. Somewhere. Yep, got it. Jeremiah McLeod here had a really good combine. I have his info. He's a run stopper. Jeremiah McLeod. I don't know if I have his. Might have lost it. All right, mid 2. No, we're not talking the Levine trade now. They didn't want 3 starting caliber players. They wanted the 1st round pick less than Corville. I don't think number 10 changes that enough. Here's the thing though. Don't get so caught up on the fact that we didn't get like a 1st round pick alone. We gained 22 spots in 1st round equity from 32 to 10. That's worth a lot. Teams give up future first-round picks and more to jump up that high. So we gave up Corville. It's not first-round pick for first-round pick. That's irrelevant. It's pick 10 for pick 32. And they gave up the ability to take one of the elite players in the draft. Now we gain that ability. We had to give up something to get it. Yes! That's what we like to see there. And a lot of these colleges here got messed up on the import, so Blackjack will fill me in on anything I need to fix here. Potentially a lot. Let's not sleep on late safeties either. Ooh. 5th. 6'4". Benjamin Davis. I can scout one more player fully. Alright, we have Hill at 24 years old and Lloyd at 22. I'll go with the younger player. Okay. Man. We have had such a busy offseason already. We haven't even gotten to the draft yet. The draft hasn't even started yet. What a wild offseason. Here we go, everybody. We're not waiting around at 32 now. We're at pick 10. Who knows if we end up picking there. So a lot has happened. The last thing I want to check here is just I want to see the quarterback landscape again to see what changed, because I want to know where some of these quarterbacks could go. I still think the Bucs are a possibility. The Colts could be even after drafting or assigning Dak Prescott. I think the Cowboys will stay put. Everybody needs a backup now, it seems. Jaguars are in play. The Bills. Whoa. Where's Josh Allen? On the Cowboys. Backing up Jason Murray. Okay then. I'd be watching the Buffalo Bills in this first round. Otherwise, they're playing Hudson Brooks. Welcome to the NFL Draft, everybody. Thank you for sticking around today. It's taken a while to get here just because of how much we had to take care of. This draft is going to be wild. I already know it. The Chargers start. They don't need a quarterback. What do they do? I predict they will take Lester Thorne or Marquavion Hairston. Quarterback is very unlikely. Tackle could happen. They need playmaker, but I don't think receiver is right here at number 1 in this class. But there are a lot of great first rounders that we've scouted today. And if you watch the draft show, you know a lot about some of these other players like Ikechukwu, Cameron Grimes, both good quarterback prospects, Montrell Griffin. So how does this draft unfold? Where do all these top talents end up going? Let's start to find out. Number 1. LA Chargers, our rivals. They have kind of fallen off in this series after losing Keenan Allen and no longer being deep at wide receiver. They lost Allen and Jamie Sherman. So now they've got to do something to get them back competing in this division where the Chiefs and us have been much stronger in recent years. Number 1, The LA Chargers select Montrell Griffin from Kalispell. Wow. Edge rusher. He was one of the top rated players. 77 overall. He's 20 years old. A 20-year-old pass rusher joins the Chargers defense. This is a similar selection to Alan Argento with the Bears last year. Although Argento was higher rated, but a very young edge rusher. They paired him with Khalil Mack. They'll pair Griffin now with Joey Bosa. So, that had to be in play, edge rusher. Defense now getting a boost for the Chargers. Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quarterback is not in play for like the first 7 or 8 teams, I'd have to say. So, who goes instead? Pittsburgh Steelers up next. Lester Thorne, they go with the top tackle in the class, I believe, from what I scouted so far. 79 overall. Now, Minnesota, they have been really bad in recent years. I think this is a good spot for KJ Holiday at corner. The Minnesota Vikings, Trajan Baskerville, 79 overall tight end, goes number 3. Wow. There's a playmaker for Brandon Warren, and the Vikings did need to target that in this offseason. Minnesota still has Stephon Diggs in this series. They have Marvin Hayes. And now they're going to have 2 solid tight ends. They already had a superstar in Matthew Crawford. Now they had Trajan Baskerville. Next up, New England. Cornell McAllister. First receiver goes a bit earlier than I expected. I thought that he would go in the teens. KJ's still out there. Next up, Washington. Marquavion Hairston from Georgia. Wow. Edge rusher. I wanted to see who else they had on defense. Yeah, I knew they had somebody. Jarrett Maxiell. So we got some good edge rush tandems being created here. Could we look to trade up with KJ Holiday still available? We could look at cornerback potentially being in need if we were to move on from like Damian Charles. Another option here, Tyson Scott at tackle. Mid-round talent. But KJ obviously can't miss early first. I can't believe he's not already taken. And if you're looking for early first round players, there's him, there's Jordan Rush. It's quite simple. There's also Ashton Bully at guard. Can I check the schedule now? Oh, is the face cam better lower left for the draft? All right, let me flip that. If we did make a move and ended up with Holiday, that could make somebody like Charles expendable. The other thing to think about there, well, it could just make it so we have McKinney on a big contract, eventually Granger, and then Holiday doesn't get a big deal until like McKinney's deal's done. So that would make it fit a little bit better. We're always trying to be pretty deep at corner. If I trade Charles, though, it's not in draft. I'll trade him post-draft. So Detroit is at 6. What would it take to move up? Teams value their picks very much in the top 10. It's difficult to trade up if you're trying to be cheap and get a deal. You're not getting the better end of the deal here when you're moving up in the first round. It's the other team. Second round pick, is that enough? Because you know a 4 ain't going to do it. This is just silly. Well, 64. Not on its own. I don't trade players in draft because teams value them too much in these kinds of trades. I think we're going to sim this pick here. He could go here, though. Like, top players, it doesn't matter if they're in need, they're top players. Ooh, Ezra Frudenberger. They don't go corner. Now it's Green Bay. Corner is not on their radar, supposedly. Here's how the board looks right now. You got KJ Holiday here toward the top, Tyson Scott. There are so many good players in this range. Holiday is one of the very few blue chip players in the draft, though, where it's like, he's going to be good. You know his complete skill set in the top 3. You know that athletically he's elite. He's 21. You can't miss on KJ Holiday. Unless there's something I've never seen Blackjack do here. But I don't think anything can derail early first talent here. So the Packers, I would be worried about him going here, even if corner isn't a need, just because when a player is that good, teams ignore that sometimes. Not always. Like, they really don't need him. They really don't. Unless they want to make him their third corner. Oh, are you kidding me? No way. No way. KJ Holiday to the Packers, who are now the deepest team at corner, perhaps over us now. Keep in mind, that would have required me giving up at least a second, possibly more. And cornerback is deep on the roster, and we have a lot of other issues now all of a sudden. Now, Holiday still would be the preferred pick. But the trade-off now is being able to maybe take a front 7 player, a receiver, and somebody else. Because we have 3 top 60-ish picks still, compared to having 2. So yeah, 2 top 40 picks, or maybe 41. And then the last pick of the second. Yeah. Thanks, Green Bay. The Jets go Tyson Scott from Alabama. Tackle. And the Buccaneers take Timmy Redding, and every quarterback is still available. So now we pick at 10. Probably not getting a player on Holiday's level. Can still get an early first round talent in Jordan Rush. You can also take Ashton Bully and try to solidify offensive line for the future. 45 reps, his strength is going to be high 90s. Big time. I can't remember if we play NFC North this year. I think it's been a little while. I think the schedule would be available now. In the draft it is. Chargers week 1, Packers week 3. Wow, and we get the Bengals. We get the Ravens. They got Bradley Chubb. Chiefs to close the year. Want to know something funny? I wanted to chart KJ at number 2 on Big Board. I didn't because I wanted to see if you'd be tempted to trade up almost. Thanks, Blackjack, for the super chat and the agonizing drama that is the draft. Browns on the schedule. This schedule's got some tough games. We play the Bears. The NFC North is kind of interesting with Green Bay and the Vikings, even though they haven't been very good. They should be better. The Lions have done some really good things. So we got Sherrod Edwards on the schedule. We're not taking a quarterback. All the quarterbacks are available. With our first round pick, we're selecting Ashton Bully from Colorado. We're taking a 79 overall guard. The reason I went with Bully here is because I felt like Rush, we already have Eric Palmer. And so I felt like Bully had a better chance to make a bigger difference across the offensive line. Whereas we already have Palmer. I think that if you take Rush, he probably ends up being a bit worse. Maybe he helps replace Bradley Chubb decently, but we have a couple young players there already that we're trying to develop as well. We don't have anybody at guard like Ashton Bully. And I knew the strength was going to be high. And now we have a chance to have a very good offensive line, I think, for the long haul. I didn't think Chat would like this as much. It's not flashy, didn't have the high dev, but he's a really, really good guard. Probably 2 new starting guards this year. This probably hurts Muldrow a lot. Alright. A lot stronger for the offensive line. Missed out on KJ Holiday, unfortunately. Nathan Shiragane from UCLA goes to Tennessee. So another edge rusher off the board. Still some good ones left. And I'm also waiting to see where the quarterbacks go. We're not quite there, though, for realistic quarterback landing spots. Jordan Rush is next. No surprise there. Morris Price. So the front 7 players are all going. Who did you want me to take? Shiragane? He was going to be, like, if we were at 32 moving up, I thought he'd be realistic. This might be a little bit higher than I would have been willing to trade up, though. Move Bully to tackle. That's another option. I always move guys around different positions. That could happen because Muldrow is better than whoever we have at tackle right now. Not against that at all. We get an elite offensive lineman. Ideally, though, we end up with Holiday. I wonder if at 8, the second round pick would have been enough. It might have been. But it's hard to trade that high. Kirkland Lincoln to the Chiefs. So they take a 73 overall end now. Kind of surprised about that move. Next up, Dallas goes Roshan Mashaka, 78 overall. That's higher than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so Dallas adds an impact receiver. Julius Parks to the Ravens. Malcolm Schmidt, second tight end off the board now, going to Cincinnati. Next up, Houston. Denard McDaniels at defensive end. That brings up the Rams. We're still looking at quarterback, But there are a lot of teams I'm also interested in who takes the first running backs, because there are some potential difference makers here based on what we've scouted. And I think that we're going to find a couple day one starters out of this class if a team like the Lions takes running back fairly early. So now we have the Rams, who don't need a running back. They love Dallas Levine, and now they go center Kevin Hampton from Kalispell. Next up, the Oakland Raiders. Who are we facing now twice a year? Tony Bonds at corner. That's a good pick. I don't have his talent in front of me, but 75 here at 20 is very solid. His top 3, though, is probably more relevant. Tony Bonds' top 3 was A- press, B- zone, C+ tackle. Philadelphia goes Lyle Graves at tackle. Carolina goes Quandre Young at D tackle. This should be the first quarterback you would think here. Is it going to be Chidi Ikechukwu, the first quarterback off the board, or is there a surprise? What are the Bills doing? What is Buffalo going to do? Chidi Ikechukwu off the board, 80 overall quarterback from Temple. I'm excited to see his ratings. There's still another quarterback that I can't wait to see where he goes. We play them week 16, so we get to face him after basically an entire season of development. In prime time, by the way. Next up, Indianapolis. Do they go quarterback despite signing Dak Prescott? Darian Wakefield. He had late first talent. Next up, San Francisco. Denard Shearer at D tackle. San Francisco is always taking D linemen in the first round. We do have a great schedule. It's unbelievable. Jacksonville could be in the market for a quarterback. Is this where Cameron Grimes goes? Lindsey Knighton. 68 overall, the lowest overall the entire round. Now, Miami historically has drafted really well in this series. I want to see who's available. I have no clue what they're going to do. Deion Jeffrey would just be a good pick from an overall standpoint. Or Jeremiah McLeod. I hate the Dolphins so much. That is exactly who I wanted with my next pick. Gerard Gaddison goes to Miami. Come on! I gotta get the Dolphins out of the league. Why do they do this every time? There are other receivers, but Gaddison was my favorite for our second round pick. Come on, man. Deion Jeffrey to protect Taquan Layton. Seattle. Eddie Holloway. North Dakota State. Off top of your head, Blackjack, do you know if Eddie Holloway was like a high combine grade player? That seems to be what Seattle likes to do in the draft. Just who had a really good spark score? All right, Cleveland's next. Jeremiah McLeod, that's a solid pick. That's really solid. And now Chicago. I think they go playmaker here. They're desperate. They go safety Brandon Edwards. Why? Unless you lost Eddie Jackson, I don't know why. Safety was their top position group. Eddie Jackson, Roy Douglas. Now, I do look at everybody's roster here, and I make position changes if it makes sense for them. So, if he fits at linebacker, I'll move him to linebacker. But as far as safety goes, that's just future-proofing. That's surprising. Corin Haggerty with the super chat. Speaking of players I missed out on in the draft, thank you for the super chat. Houston will burn your cornerbacks when you play against the Browns and make you wish that you drafted Holiday and passing up on me years ago. Tyrone Houston. Do we face the Browns? We do face the Browns this year. Our schedule is so good. Tyrone Houston will get a revenge spot against us late in the season. We got to face KJ Holiday. Man. All right, and now we helped the Giants out. We gave them Terrell Corville. What do they do now at 32? Willie Jenkins, they're going all in on playmaker. All in. Willie Jenkins, Robert Price, Terrell Corville, Prescott Pemberton. Things are getting really interesting in New York now. I like that pick for them. They get Corville and still add a good receiver with a similar overall to a receiver who they could have picked at 10. I think that trade worked out terrific for the Giants. Chargers now. On the clock. Top of the second. Do they go receiver? Dom Hampton. Whoa. First running back off the board goes to the Chargers. Dom Hampton from Boston College. Behind Kerryon Johnson right away. Most likely. But with the XP sliders set up the way they are, he'll be a focused player, he'll get dev, and he'll get a chance to leapfrog him. So now we have Pittsburgh. Going Brandon Myers. Whoa, a 79 tight end. There were more than 2 in this class. The Delaware tight end at 79 overall. The Vikings now, Apollo Burgess from Kent State. Does he have a chance to start? He's behind Terrence Rivers for a little bit. He'll still get some playing time, but I want to see one of these rookies get drafted to start. Patriots. Montel Jenkins. That's a really good pick there. I liked him. Getting close to our next selection. Coco Lemon. He's not going to start. He's behind Tyshawn Clifford. So the first 3 running backs drafted don't have a path to being day 1 starters. The Detroit Lions have the power to change that if they can draft somebody that's like a 74 or greater. Unless they made a move. They did. Josh Jacobs and Robert Carroll. Never mind. So they went in free agency to make those moves. The Detroit Lions go Vic Cooper. They still take a running back. Why? Why? I don't get that one. Green Bay, Charles Mitchell. 2 secondary picks. The Jets go Ted Ruslanovich from Ohio State. And we're on the clock. And no, we're not taking Cameron Grimes. We're going to let him go to a CPU team, see where he ends up. We still have needs to fill. So, wide receiver. We have 2 on the team right now. 2 wide receivers and 1 didn't play last year. Safety is still a concern. Or we can move Akinjide back to safety. Oh boy. Safety and wide out. Safety and wide receiver. Oh yeah, I'd love to take Gaddison. Probably never gonna play on Miami either. So at safety, there were less options I felt were starting caliber. We're left with basically Tyrell Bynes, who I think is solid. At wide receiver, there is Stephen Kemp, the great route runner who had an awesome combine. You just don't know about his catching. Mid-2 talent. Lamyron Spellman. Early 2 talent, but he doesn't have the 40 speed. He's just a really good route runner. I didn't finish scouting Laquan Smith, but I think I have his data. Laquan Smith, A catching, A- spec catch, A- catch in traffic. Average athlete. The chat wants Stephen Kemp. Worst case is he is the new deep threat. Now, keep in mind, the receiver I'm trying to add here that I've been talking about, this catch and run receiver, it's not to replace the role for Corville, it's to replace a role that doesn't exist on the team. I still want a deep threat. Stephen Kemp. He's got to have one of the highest ceilings here, even though he has mid-2 talent. That's lower than Spellman. What about these other receivers here? I didn't scout every receiver, especially the ones that were like, 6'5". I didn't think they'd be the catch and run receivers. A lot of people here want either Spellman or Kemp right now. Spellman is less dynamic. 4.58. I am worried about how low that speed would be. Like if it's 86, ugh. Tough. Kemp is going to be fast. He's going to be able to run routes, but the catching could be very low for him. Man. Other options would be Jericho Knight, Hassan Brothers, Joey Gray, Stephen Dumont. Mid-2 for Jericho Knight. Brothers, late 2 talent. I like him a lot, though. Good thing we have 2 seconds. The pick is Stephen Kemp. He's just too dynamic here. And the route running, I'm finally getting my route runner. I've been trying to do this for years, and I can get one who ran a 4.36 and can bench 23 reps of 225. Stephen Kemp, 72. This class is deep if 72 is a mid-2. Let's go. But normal dev. Stephen Kemp. 95 speed, 98 acceleration, and yes, the catching is low. He has some elusiveness, juke, and spin. It's not dynamic. At the very least, we have an explosive player to add to the offense. We'll have to work on catching, but the route running is there. I haven't been able to work with a receiver like this quite yet. I've been waiting. There was Emmanuel Silvers and many other receivers I had a chance to take and didn't. Now I finally got one. Only 21 years old. Plenty of time to develop. Next up, the Giants go Jeffrey Silvers. A lot of good running backs in this class. Will he have a chance to start? At least one needs that chance. Oh, never mind. Just come on. Everybody's backing up. Dustin Forrester. The Saints go Joey Gray. Javi Morales off the board, and now Kansas City's going with Kerry Jones IV. I know he's not going to be their starter. I'm just really curious. I want to see these running backs play so bad. You have no idea. We have some idea. He can be there too. Hassan Brothers. I would like to move up, but I feel like I need to get a couple more players, and I have no third, so giving up 4s in this range is kind of tough as well. There goes Mike Galinsky, Stephen Dumont, Alan Johnson. When are these quarterbacks going, by the way? Jamichael Judge. Joaquin Coles. I just want to see a running back start as a rookie. I guess Jason Brothers did for most of last year, and what happened to him? He got hurt for half the year. Bobby Peralta. Tyrell Bynes. Ooh. I don't know who's playing safety. Of course! Why wouldn't they take Chris Quinn? Why wouldn't they take a 73 overall running back in the second round? The Dolphins can't miss. It's Towns and Chris Quinn. Oh, wow. And Garrison, or Gaddison, I forget his name now, is probably going to be their number 2 behind Fawcett. Derek Lambert, Juan Shirley, Kyle Marshall. Perfect. On the clock now. Jericho Knight still available too. So with how much we need receiver, it does make some sense to take 2. The only thing here is, where does Spellman have strengths that Kemp doesn't? Hey Blitzkrieg, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Both are good route runners. Spellman has the release. He's also probably going to be pretty slow, and he's 5'10". I feel like Spellman is supposed to be a trap. He is graded higher than his projection. He's got a very enticing top 3, but he's slow and small. Where could this be different? If catching traffic is really good, and his speed is like an 87 or 88. Only one way to find out. I feel like he's a trap. Massive trap. A trap with upside, keep in mind. Laquan Smith. Let's see. A catching, A minus spec catch, A minus catch in traffic. But he's a 4th round talent. How about LJ Molina? Six foot 4. B plus short, B plus spec catch, B medium. Sid Rollins. B plus catching, B plus deep, B spec catch. Safety is going to be tough to address the rest of the way. I want to see if there's anybody I'm interested in now. Higgins is a 4th round talent. And I think that at strong safety is just whatever I see here. So we could take Jericho Knight, replace Chubb, have a ton of competition for that spot. He's only 21. A lot of people are still going to want Lemire and Spellman. What to do, man? Jericho Knight's the easy pick. I think there are still a lot of receivers I like with some intriguing ratings. There's still Bennett McCain, too. Because receiver's deep, I think it makes the most sense here to take Jericho Knight. I'm down with that. A lot of edge rush competition now. Normal dev once again. Jericho Knight with 88 speed, 80 finesse moves, 88 acceleration. It's him, Trey Walker. There's Jazir Deacon. Who's going to break out? A lot deeper now for edge rusher. And he does have a little bit of ability to play off the ball. You just have to work on that a little bit. Don't think I will. But if I ever want to, there's an opening. So I can't believe Grimes is going to go in the 3rd round. I thought there were enough teams that could take quarterback that he would not fall this far. There's still Antoine Morgan and Jeffrey Ramser as well. So quarterback is still intriguing. And the 3rd round is when they go. But even good teams will take backup quarterbacks now. Grimes could legitimately be a backup to Oliver Raymond. I hope for the sake of the series he doesn't go here or the next few teams. This has happened a lot in this series. It's happened, Prescott Pemberton got replaced. It happened to Quan Tippins. It happened to Scooby Blaylock. And now Cameron Grimes to the Chargers. The Steelers, what are you going to do? Ooh, Kadeem Copper. Jeffrey Ramser to the Vikings. Joel Olsen. Jerome Sneed. A quarterback now would be intriguing for almost any team. Jackson Standiford. There's still Antoine Morgan. Rock Shabazz. Lemire Spellman goes to Tennessee. Remember, we have to check out the Titans when we're done here for those ratings. Antoine Morgan is going to back up Justin Colbert now. Wow. The Kalispell reunion in New Orleans. Oh, I forgot about Jarrell Stoudemire. That's right. Because we gave up our mid-round pick, can't take him there. Now Quincy Jordan to Baltimore. Julius Higgins. Hammer Shield. Wow, a good value pick here going to the Raiders. Does he have a path to playing time? Possibly. Although he's still going to be buried at 73 overall. It's going to take some time. But that's where I think that the XP sliders now help so much. Much more can happen for players the first 2 years of their career. All he needs is to get to like 76, start getting snaps, and then it comes easier. Whereas on lower settings, he might spend 3 years getting to 76. And by then, it's like a little bit too late. He needs to get there in the first year or two. Getting closer to our next pick. O.J. Cole. Okay. I don't think there's a... Yeah, of course take a good tight end, okay? Just keep stacking good picks, Miami. Sly Johnson. Going to the Dolphins. There's your new second tight end. He's a blocking tight end, though. I wonder if he has any good receiving ratings. Yeah, imagine that. The Dolphins take the 70 overall tight end over the 65. I like Dexter Devine. The Corville trade will haunt us for a long time. I think it was fair. I was going to trade him regardless. But we'll see how this year handles at wide receiver. Just, we couldn't get Dallas Levine. Are we adding enough? Can Vashawn Wright handle even more? And now receivers are starting to go again. Please don't draft receivers. I need more. Okay. Still 6 picks to make. At receiver, there is L.J. Molina and Sid Rollins. And still Bennett McCain out there. Really interested in McCain because he has, I think, enough speed to go with a good 3-cone and 20-yard. Good route running. The other option would probably be Sid Rollins. I just want to see his grade compared to Molina one more time. Rollins. Molina's a late 4. And Rollins, I don't know exactly what his is. It's somewhere in the 4s. I also really like Danny Reed Gray. Ooh. I think I want Danny Reed Gray right here. A cornerback to develop for the future now. This tells me a lot more at corner than this does at receiver, because receiver needs so many more ratings to know a full picture of a player. Danny Reed Gray. He's the pick. 68 hidden. Let's go. First hidden of the day. I'll need to know his school, Blackjack. Danny Reed Gray. 68 overall. He doesn't have elite speed, but he has good acceleration and agility, and does have some press ability. Can play some zone coverage. If you're wondering if he could play safety for a year, he wouldn't fit strong safety very well. He'd fit free safety better, where I'm already planning on playing Watts. Yes, he's projected late 5, but his talent's in the 3rd. He'll go in the 4th somewhere. We're in the 4th. There goes Markel Ingram, another good defensive pick for Baltimore. Eli Barnett. And my thought was there's still going to be a receiver at the next pick. Even if it's not exactly who I had in mind. I still think the sheer volume gives us an option. This is a nice deep class. Very good for the league. Thank you, Blackjack. Another good pick for Miami. I'm just getting annoyed by everything they do. It took a 68, which seems to be a good value. There goes Bennett McCain. I'll have to check him. I still have an option. I still have these two. Why another receiver? Because we only have 3. Like, on the entire roster. One hasn't played and one didn't play a year ago. Between these two, if you want somebody with a few more physical upgrades or attributes, Molina gives you B+ spec catch. Rollins gives you B+ catching and B spec catch. As far as speed goes, 4.49 for Molina at 6'4", compared to 4.35 at 6 foot. So their speed might be separated by a point or two. DJ Valencia, 6th round talent though. He does have the speed. He's not bad either. Keep the tradition going, take a running back late. I'm not sure I can today. Sid Rollins or LJ Molina. Yeah, Valencia's talent is going to be two rounds lower. Rollins will have good hands right away. Molina's going to be good at short and medium routes with good spec catch. And he's 6'4". So who do we think has the higher ceiling between these two? Man, this is legit tough. You could go either way. LJ Molina or Sid Rollins. What's he, 21 years old? 22? Like, the differences between the two? A lot of them are very minor. I think, you know, Rollins a little bit older, a little bit faster. The big difference, I think, is Molina's 6'4", but how much does that matter? Maybe with the right ratings, you'll get more, like, spec catches in the end zone or something. Oh, boy. They're both 4th round talents, too. Molina is guaranteed late 4. I don't remember what Rollins is. It could be mid, it could be late, early, I don't know. I'm taking LJ Molina. 67 overall normal dev. Ultimately, he has the size and a couple ratings that I think will help pay off with that size. The short route running, the medium routes right away, spec catch is decent. I think you could do a lot with this as your base skill set on day one. .74 catching for Molina. It's going to be lower than Rollins. Rollins is going to have pretty good catching. But I like here you could go in any direction. So we go LJ Molina. I'm not against taking another receiver, by the way. When the Packers were like trying to find that number 2, they took Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They took Equanimous St. Brown. And there was another guy. They took 3 receivers in a row, just hoping to hit on one. And they've gotten good production from MVS. Who was the third guy? I think that the guy I forgot about was the first one they took, too. Who was the other guy? I don't think he ever ended up playing much. Yeah, Jamon Moore. Yeah. Sid Rollins goes to Philly, so we're going to have to check him. He's currently with Houston. He has 2 career catches. I'm pretty sure he was selected before MVS and St. Brown. Lazard was undrafted. Yeah, and he's arguably the best of all of those. Although I think I give the edge to MVS because even though he is inconsistent, when he hits, it really counts. Mr. Irrelevant should be Josh Vincent if available. You know I like Josh Vincent. I forgot that we get to select Mr. Irrelevant. Thank you, Xander, for the reminder. Still another mid-60s receiver, Gabriel Garrett. DJ Valencia's a 64. I do want to see his. Now we're starting to get into the 50s. Sometimes. Closing in on our next pick, Joe Owens, ATL. Josh Vincent to Arizona. And we are on the clock now. We still have 4 picks. Okay. Someone draft a punter. There's 6 of them. I know. I saw the class and I'm like, all right, you must have really been having fun one night, because I don't think these classes come stock with 6 punters. And I know some of these names are not in the pool. So I know you spent a lot of time editing these punters. Something tells me that EA didn't generate Duncan Starks at 267 pounds with a good 40 time and 29 bench reps. Well, thank you again, Blackjack, for a fun draft class. I know we're not quite done yet. The heavy hitters are gone. Always fun to see how it plays out. The CPU always makes a lot of interesting moves I like, and then they also miss a few opportunities every year. Especially when it comes to quarterback, like, we never know where they're gonna go. It's so hard to predict. We've taken now a linebacker, an edge rusher, a corner, and we've taken 2 receivers and a guard. We still haven't addressed safety. Highest talent that I'm aware of is going to be Bierschbach here. Every draftable running back has already been taken. Are they onto my strategy? There are still draftable wide receivers. Yeah, if we want a run stopper, definitely the top 3 here for Bierschbach is a fit. And he's a really outstanding athlete. This is kind of an easy pick here, I think. Projected undrafted, but he'll probably go sometime, and I don't want to wait around and watch somebody else take him. Avery Bierschbach is the pick hidden dev from Kennesaw State. Let's go. 6'1", 213, 88 speed. A lot better at stopping the run than in coverage. So the plan is to play Watts at free. I don't know who's playing strong safety yet. Bierschbach will be competing, but that doesn't mean I'll just stop there. Have the Chargers taken a receiver? all off season. I set narratives for these teams, and they just completely go in the other direction. Guys, the Miami Dolphins have something that makes them different under the hood. I want to know what it is. You're watching 58, 60, 62, 59, 59, 57, 69 in the 6th round. This isn't just like a thing that, you know, we talk about for fun. There's something about this team that ain't right. They just don't miss. Like Steph Curry's wondering how the Dolphins are this accurate. There goes Quavon Lloyd. Notice how nobody else is taking a 69 overall right now. It's like the Dolphins are controlled by another person. They took... Guys! Come on! Come on! They just upped to a 72! Seriously, why do they draft so well? This isn't the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. This is just the Miami thing. Like, they got the cheats that everybody on Warzone's using. I promise I didn't do anything, but maybe you could solve the problem. Maybe you could give me the answer on why the Dolphins are so good at drafting. Well, I don't know if there's anyone good left. Miami might have ruined that. Blackjack is using them. That's the only thing I can think of. Oh, the Dolphins head scout. Yeah, he needs to be a GM one day. Or maybe their GM is the best GM. Because they just continue to hit. Okay, I'm seeing Starks pop up a lot. Where is Starks listed? Was he an undrafted guy? The Dolphins straight took a dude I made to be an undrafted surprise. Yeah, you have to try harder to trick the Dolphins. He's the punter. Duncan Starks. Not yet. Colby Wadman is regressing now. He's been our punter the entire series, but I know his ratings are terrible, but watch him punt. I'm not replacing him unless there's like a huge drop off or the play changes or he retires. Like, this is the best punter I've ever played with right here. He's so good. I can get a punter anytime. I don't think the CPU ever drafts specialists in this game. They do in head coach, though. I found that out the hard way when every kicker was gone by the 5th round. In my last off season. So we don't know much about anybody who's really left. Unfortunately. We know B- deep route running for Rashawn Carroll is all. I just need Deontay Harris. I'm not even asking for Dallas Levine anymore. I'm asking for Deontay Harris. Johnny Houston. First there was Johnny Football. Now is just Johnny Houston. From Louisiana Tech. We want Nayland. Alright, where's Nayland? James Nayland. That combine is terrible. Is there another one with the last name Nayland? .65 isn't good at receiver. I'm looking through my board here on the computer to see if there's anybody else that stood out. I mean, there were running backs I liked, but all the draftable ones are taken. I've already taken a corner. I've already taken a safety. I guess it's last pick of the 6th round. We don't got to get too technical here. Nayland to tight end. James Nayland at tight end. Alright, I'll see if I can write a better story for the 6th round pick. What happened? Now I'm more interested in him because his projection thing is bugged. Good bench reps. Terrence Stanton. Why is that all bugged? I do like some of the tight ends I have, though. I feel like if we take somebody here, here are the tight ends I have that we can develop. Obviously, we learned about Will Rutherford this last year. There is Bradley Evans and Amari Spriggs. They have speed. They don't have great catching ability, but we can work on that a little bit. So that's why I haven't prioritized tight end. I'm more so thinking about a preseason competition here for that 3rd spot. Miami is a BPA team. Oh, are there teams in here that draft BPA or draft by need? They have been drafting BPA for a while. Chuck Clemens. Only a 4.57 here. That could still be high 80s. I don't think I'll draft another receiver. I'll probably be signing a free agent or two. Or there could be a trade for somebody not named Dallas Levine. I can't believe it's impossible to trade for him. Can we just talk about how Boogie Turner isn't even, like, remotely interesting to them when it comes to trading Dallas Levine? The chat wants James Nayland so bad. to move to tight end, a position swap. $461, huh? Declan May Redenbaker from South Dakota State. 6 foot 244. I think Terrence Stanton is interesting here. At least the bench reps are super high. I don't know anything else, but he's 21. 69 overall. That's 74th in true talent. Whoa! You guys can worry about your position swaps at wide receiver to tight end. I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to take Terrence Stanton before Miami can. I think we got an interesting player here. Part of me was wondering if the game would crash when I drafted him because, like, that thing wouldn't pop up correctly. I'd never seen that before. I'm on the clock again. And I would like to select Jalil Hester from Mississippi State, at the very worst, developmental practice squad quarterback. But I think if I have a pocket passer, I always want somebody that I can bring in for a package. 60 hidden. 60 hidden. 85 throw power, 82 short accuracy. So the starting upside, not great, but a move to running back or a package quarterback role could fit, especially with hidden dev. Yeah, I have Jean Charles, but I probably won't forever. I probably won't forever. There's a chance I trade him next year to a team that needs a quarterback, but I want him for this coming season. I still can't believe that Dallas Levine was impossible to trade for. And I will see what James Nalen is all about when we're done here. I just didn't think he'd be better than the tight ends we already have at the bottom of the depth chart. Dolphins didn't have anything special with their last pick. And now we get to select Mr. Irrelevant. We have taken a quarterback, 2 receivers, 2 linemen. We've taken 1 edge rusher, a corner, and a safety. So we haven't taken like an off-ball linebacker, a defensive tackle, or a running back. The running backs could be very interesting. You never know. Rayshawn Monk, South Alabama, the speedster. He can be a UDFA and get a 1-year contract. If I draft him right now, he gets a 4-year deal. Always better to draft somebody than wait till undrafted. 4-year contract at about $500,000 in the 7th round. Can't beat that. 64 normal. Low receiving back, lower than his power. Wow. Speed, acceleration, agility, but he's just kind of a straight line speed guy then. He doesn't really try to make you miss. All right, we'll have to see what he's able to do then in preseason, but that is our draft. Take Monk and get Declan and Starks in free agency. Could always look at that. Thank you for the super chat. So we go Ashton Bully early on. We added Stephen Kemp, Jericho Knight, Danny Reed Gray, LJ Molina, Avery Bierschbach, Terrence Stanton, Jaleel Hester, and Rayshawn Monk. We have a lot of players who could eventually start or start right away. Mainly with Bully and Kemp, possibly Knight. I think it was a pretty solid class, although we did not get anybody that I would assume has like super high dev. We took a lot of normal dev early. Maybe we get lucky here on Danny Reed Gray. But where the first surprise was for us was the Packers taking KJ Holiday. And obviously this is not going to be good for us. Hidden dev, 98 speed, 84 man. He just doesn't have good press ability. And press is somewhat important to me. It happens to be extremely low. The thing where Holiday would have been not a great fit for us is with lower zone and lower press. Like, my style is press zone. And those ratings for him are his worst. But in other schemes, he fits really good. Class was way trickier and harder to grade because I built from the UDFAs and then up. Everyone felt close. Gaddison will make you sad when you see him. Thank you, Blackjack. This has been an awesome offseason. And I can tell that this was meant to be a trickier draft. And yeah, clustering players was so common. And it was hard to separate. With the little data you're given, you're really taking a lot of chances. If he had been available, our second round pick would have been Gerard Gaddison. And our problems would have been solved. What am I supposed to do? The Miami Dolphins aren't fair. He was the guy. He went 27th, so he would have had to move up even from 32. He was the guy. Sup, Kane, would you ever consider doing a live stream of the Houston Texans offseason? Yeah, they're fun. I wanted to stream something in the Houston Texans franchise. I wouldn't be against ever streaming the offseason. I think I'd prefer to stream games. Thank you for the super chat. They also took Chris Quinn, hidden development running back. Wow, he's not fast. Okay. Acceleration and agility are still good. So is ball carrier vision. Interesting. Sly Johnson. Third hidden dev in a row. No way. No way. Wasn't he a blocking archetype player? Just switch your team to Miami, Kane. It might be easier at this point. Yeah, his archetype is blocking. He had 83 speed, 59 catching. So that's still pretty bad right away. So I believe the way CPU teams operate is they always make their first 3 picks their focus players. So anybody here then would be, getting extra experience. So keep that in mind when you're looking at CPU teams. Their first 3 picks should be their focus players for the entire year. Took a lot of tight ends and linemen. Wait a minute. They only drafted 1 defensive player. He had hidden dev. Normal. 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 They still took 4 hidden dev players. Oh, man. All right. I want to check out some of the top players here. Montrell Griffin going to the Chargers from Kalispell. And you'll find out in the Kalispell Dynasty episode I have coming up that, or why he ended up being such a highly graded prospect. Lester Thorne, hidden dev to the Steelers. Very, very good ratings. And the hidden dev. Trajan Baskerville. Very nice pick for Minnesota. 84. After Herb Smith had it. Cornell McAllister. I was wondering what you were doing with these receivers because they didn't seem to be great. I thought you might give them high dev. So it's like a little bit lower talent so you're not enticed to take them, but then their development ends up being really good. Like McAllister is still a solid receiver. Maybe not 4th overall caliber, but he's not that far away. Marquavion Hairston. Wow. Maybe not quite Chase Young, but trying to check all the boxes. Ezra Frudenberger. Got the J.J. Watt elbow pad. Good run defender right away. Can develop into more. KJ Holiday, we checked him out. Tyson Scott. I thought he was another player we could realistically end up with if I moved up from 32. He went higher than expected. Timmy Redding. Normal dev here to the Bucks. Pretty solid, though. I wouldn't worry too much about that dev. I think Gaddison is the true best. I put him in as a 2nd rounder. Man, I can't believe they took him from me. I wouldn't even be thinking about Dallas Levine right now. Nathan Shiragane. Maybe won't be great as a rookie just because a lot of the key ratings here are lower, but with high intangibles, probably develop pretty quick. It'll be really interesting to follow. Jordan Rush went 12. He can cover and rush and stop the run, so it's whatever you want with Jordan Rush. Morris Price, another good defensive end or defensive tackle. I'll check what he fits best in their scheme and make adjustments. Kirkland Lincoln. Probably a bit of an overdraft here for Kansas City. Roshan Mashaka. Hidden dev, 78 overall. Great route running. The catching is just fine. Wow. He also could have fit what I was looking for. And I, of course, ended up with Ashton Bully, and I'm pretty happy with that pick. Let's see. Tennessee. They took Shiragane, and they took Lemire Spellman. Hidden dev. He even has some run after the catch ability. Oh, man. Well, I took LJ Molina. Oh, the hunt for the right receiver continues. Over and over again. Oh, well, I had Hopkins for a few years. Okay, I hit there on that trade. Or that signing. All right, Bennett McCain was another option. 69 normal. Solid routes, okay. Glad we didn't take him with those catching ratings. I don't want to work on that. No thanks. And the Eagles. They end up with Sid Rollins. Solid deep. Good hands. 92 speed. Not bad. If you want a pure deep threat. Cowboys took DJ Valencia. They also took Hassan Brothers. I really liked him. They gave him the captain's patch right away, too. It says next to his overall. Not bad. DJ Valencia from Bowie State. Another pure deep threat, but more of a project. The Panthers took James Nalen, your favorite player in the chat. 87 speed. Good enough route running at tight end, but low catching. And like I said, I thought he would just be similar to the other tight ends we already had. And he probably even lower overall. The blocking isn't there either. Not even close. Oh yeah, the Cowboys took Stoudemire. They had a great draft. Jarrell Stoudemire, normal. I thought you might give him a hidden dev. That's a pretty exciting draft for the Cowboys. Then they did a good job. First 3 picks. He'll be a focus player then too. That's a good focus trio. For the quarterbacks then. First one, Chidi Ikechukwu to the Bills. 80 overall, hidden dev. I can't wait to see how he plays, and these ratings are really, really good right away. No weaknesses. I guess short accuracy is a bit lower than you'd like, but that's just day one short accuracy. Excited to see how he plays. New quarterback in Buffalo. Unfortunately, I don't think any other quarterback's getting a chance to play anytime soon after Cameron Grimes went to the Chargers. So if Raymond were to get hurt, they have one of the most interesting backups in the league. And Raymond and Grimes, their style of play couldn't be more different. Raymond is a drop back, deep ball quarterback, and Grimes is a scrambling quarterback who excels throwing short, has a strong arm, but the downfield accuracy is wild. There's a chance we see him for a different team at some point. Maybe somebody ends up making a trade, but a lot of those quarterbacks end up just playing their whole rookie deal with one team. And without the development early in his career, that's really going to hurt his chances of being a successful starter. Unfortunately. Jeffrey Ramsor going to the Vikings. Hidden dev out of Cal. He's a good balanced quarterback. I think he's kind of like the modern day archetype at quarterback who gives you a little bit of everything. Accuracy is a little bit lower to start out with, but you get a little speed. You get passing skills that with a couple of years will be well-rounded, but he's not getting a chance to play behind Brandon Warren. And then Antoine Morgan going to the Saints. Just kind of okay pocket passer ratings. Maybe a little bit of mobility there. What happened? Thank you for the super chat. You missed a lot. To summarize it, we ended up losing a lot of key players because of salary cap. We ended up trading away Terrell Corville to the Giants to move up in the first round, where we then took a really good guard, but missed on a potential game changer at corner. We had, I think, a pretty good draft, but I could have done better in a few areas, and I did not end up with the dream receiver. We tried the trade for Dallas Levine. It proved to be impossible. I tried to trade them Boogie Turner. Not because I would do it. I was doing it as an experiment, and I was going to back out if it worked. But they would refuse. They refused to trade him. So At the end of the day, here's your team right now before UDFAs and preseason. We still could make a move at wide receiver. I don't know what's going to happen there. I wanted to get Levine. That didn't work out. I didn't get who I wanted in the draft exactly. I still got a good receiver, just not the perfect receiver for the role I had envisioned. So as far as the O-line goes, the O-line's going to be in better shape this year, I think, after we added Andrew Talley in free agency for 1 year. Bully will probably play some guard now. And defensively, I don't know who's starting at safety next to Xavier Watts. We have a huge competition at edge rusher now that should be 3-4 players deep. So we lost some talent. We signed Boogie Turner to a monster deal, Eric Palmer to a big deal. We're prepared to give Akinjide a big deal. So difficulties ramping up, and I can't wait to see how this year plays out for us. It should be a lot of fun. We'll get into the preseason here this week. I'll try to stream some of it, and we'll have some fun there, seeing some of these players for the first time. But that is going to bring us to the end today. We ran long because free agency and the draft took so long, and I've got to get out of here. So thank you all for spending some time with me today. It was a very fun offseason. Big thanks to Blackjack for a great class that gives the league a lot of talent and created a couple hours of intrigue as we went through it all. Thank you for all the support, everybody, and don't forget this coming schedule. It might be the best we've had since year 2 when we faced Jesse Heikkinen as a rookie. This class is unbelievable. We take on the NFC North. All it's missing, honestly, is a matchup against the Dolphins, but we're going to see so many other cool things, and we're going to see some players that used to play for us go against us. So stay tuned for more of the Broncos franchise. We are nowhere near done. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Channel member stream tomorrow. I'll have a community post out for the members so they know when that's going to be, but tomorrow early afternoon. And yeah, that's all I got for today. I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good night, everybody.